My name is CJ Pirtle, and I am 19 years old. I almost had to think about that, which is funny because I turn 20 next month, that's why, actually.
So my name's Marlie, and I'm 26 years old, and I'm a student service specialist.
Do you identify as gender?
Yeah, female.
I identify as non-binary.
And what does that mean?
It means that I particularly identify as a male or a female. I like to sit right in between. It's just where I'm most comfortable. I don't feel like I fit in with the norms of the two gender norms, I guess.
I think gender identity is how two things. One, potentially how a person identifies with like the literal sense of those words. And then I think there's also a lot of conversation about expression. So how you want to express yourself with gender potentially. And if you identify with one of the many genders.
So it started like way back when I was a kid, when me and my the babysitter's kids would always play dress up. I would always go for the princess outfit instead of the pirate or the knight or whatever the boys' costumes were. And then during the pandemic, so in 2020, I graduated that year. So I was technically in school, but technically not because no one knew what they were doing. I just kind of thought, you know what, I don't feel comfortable in my own body anymore. Enough is enough. And I actually told all my friends that I would rather go by they, them, rather than he, him. It's just been blatantly obvious. Except to my parents, though. That was, it came more of a shock to them. They don't know that I'm non-binary. They know that I am a gay man, as far as they're aware. It's a lot for them to handle, and I mean, it shouldn't be, but it is, and I'm a non-confrontational person. I don't deal well with conflict. And so even when I told them that I was gay back in 11th grade, it was very difficult, and it was a whole thing where it was a whole fight and whatnot.
Something like that reminds me of a conversation I had at a pub once with someone who said, I grew up in a small town. No one had talked about the LGBTQIA+ community. I didn't know there were pronouns until I came to post-secondary school and was exposed to a lot more of those things. And I think about having a conversation about, well, why? How does changing the words you're saying affect you? Because the long-term effect that will have on someone who doesn't identify with what you're saying, there's a greater risk to that person. You don't know how your words are going to impact that person by misgendering them, by misidentifying them. And it can be quite detrimental to someone's mental health and well-being. So is there a conversation we can have right now? Can I open your mind a little bit more?
I don't know, maybe, I'm sure that one day I'll get there and it'll be a nice conversation this time, my fingers crossed, but yeah, I'm just kind of avoiding a fight there, so.
But, it's nice that we're able to come out.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a relief, kind of, to get it off my shoulders, but it wasn't what I wanted. And it was a moment of I was sitting there and they were kind of going at me, but it was kind of nice in a way because I felt more seen, ironically, than ever before, because at least they knew, and at least they heard what I had to say.
At the end of the day, on top of open-mindedness, I think there's a big conversation about just being a kind person. If you respect someone on a neutral level, when I walk down the street and I see someone, I'm not gonna assume mean things or be aggressive or attacking. I'm going to be kind and continue to walk down the street. There's no reason to take that extra step to make things more difficult and not accept someone for who they are and how they identify.
How receptive are the people that you talk to?
It always depends on where I am and who I'm with. If someone asks and I have to correct them, it's a whole conversation that needs to happen. I would love to do that though. I'm the kind of person who would feel so much better if I could educate you and tell you all about it.
I think a lot about like senior folks and my grandparents who maybe struggle with technology a lot more. You can be frustrated and confused by it, but if you're willing to sit and go to the Apple Genius Bar and listen to someone tell you how to use your iPad, similarly, you can sit and listen to someone tell you about why being open-minded, about gender identity and pronouns and the LGBTQIA plus community is also important. I would say if you're a person who's wondering and curious and you want to approach it in the understanding of, hey, I know nothing about this, I don't understand it, but I'm willing to listen. Well, being willing to listen is a big part of the conversation. Because if you come into that and you are closed-minded and not open to listening, then it's like us hitting our hands against a brick wall. We're not going to get far. And that's not to say we need to completely break down a brick wall, but we need to be able to have a conversation about where does the closed-mindedness come from? Is it lack of exposure, so it's just a completely brand new thing to you? Or is it that you believe what you believe and you're not going to change that? Okay, but that doesn't mean you need to cause harm to others, right?
You have such a strong backing with so many people, it might not seem like it, especially like if you're in Alberta, it might not seem like it. Because I had the exact same experience in a rural school of growing up where I was the only different one, and I know exactly what that's like. I'm telling you not to worry, because there's so many people out there, like just go online. You'll find so many friends. Like, I'll be your friend. Like I'll be your homie, like I promise. Like there's so many people out there who will support you for being you instead of putting you down.